This is no longer just a competition. It is becoming a race where the stakes are so high that even the people leading it are starting to worry. Behind closed doors, inside government buildings and research labs, a silent battle is accelerating, not with missiles, not with soldiers, but with algorithms, data, and machines that are becoming smarter by the day. And the most powerful players in this race are two nations, the United States and China. What is unfolding between them is not just about technology, it is about power, control, and the future of global dominance. Because whoever leads in artificial intelligence may shape the world order for decades to come. At first, this race looked like innovation. Companies were building smarter systems, governments were funding research, universities were pushing boundaries. It felt like progress. But over time, something changed. The tone shifted, the urgency increased, and the collaboration that once existed between nations started to disappear. The United States has long been a leader in artificial intelligence, driven by companies like OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft. These organizations have produced some of the most advanced models in the world, pushing the limits of what machines can do. But China is not far behind. In fact, in some areas it is moving faster. Backed by massive government support and a long-term national strategy, Chinese tech giants like Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent are investing heavily in AI development. This is not just about building chatbots or recommendation systems. This is about military applications, surveillance systems, cyber warfare, and economic control. And that is where things start to get dangerous. Because when AI becomes part of national security, the rules change, secrecy replaces transparency, speed becomes more important than safety, and trust between nations begins to erode. Let that sink in. For years, global cooperation helped accelerate technological progress. Researchers shared knowledge, companies collaborated across borders. Breakthroughs benefited everyone, but now there is a growing fear. If one country pulls too far ahead, it could gain an overwhelming advantage. And no one wants to be second. So both sides are pushing harder, faster development, more aggressive investment, fewer limitations, and this is creating a situation that some experts are calling an AI arms race. Now imagine two competitors sprinting toward a finish line. But instead of slowing down to ensure safety, they speed up, ignoring risks, cutting corners, focusing only on winning. That is the current trajectory. In the United States, there is increasing concern about maintaining leadership. Government agencies are working closely with private companies to accelerate AI innovation. Policies are being shaped to support research, attract talent, and protect intellectual property. At the same time, restrictions are being placed on technology exports to China, especially in critical areas like advanced semiconductors and high-performance computing. Because chips are the foundation of AI, without them, progress slows down. And controlling access to that technology has become a strategic priority. But China is responding in its own way. It is investing heavily in domestic chip production. It is training a new generation of AI engineers. It is building massive datasets and infrastructure to support its ambitions. And perhaps most importantly, it is integrating AI into its national strategy at every level. From smart cities to military systems, AI is becoming deeply embedded in how the country operates. Now here is where things take a darker turn. One of the most concerning aspects of this race is the military dimension. AI is being used to develop autonomous weapons. Systems that can identify targets, make decisions, and act without direct human control. Drones that can operate independently. Cyber systems that can launch attacks at machine speed. Surveillance networks that can monitor entire populations in real time. These are not science fiction scenarios anymore. They are being developed right now. And both the United States and China are investing in them. The problem is not just the technology itself, it is the speed at which it is advancing. Human decision-making has limits, machines do not. In a conflict scenario, AI systems could react faster than humans can respond. That creates a risk of escalation, a small mistake, a misinterpretation, a false signal, and suddenly, decisions are being made in milliseconds, with consequences that could be irreversible. This is why some experts are warning about the possibility of accidental conflict. Not because anyone wants it, but because the systems involved are becoming too fast, too complex, and too interconnected. And here is something even more unsettling. Unlike nuclear weapons, which require massive infrastructure and are relatively easy to monitor, AI systems are much harder to track. They can be developed in secret, deployed quietly, updated continuously. That makes regulation extremely difficult, and without clear rules, the risk increases. Now pause and think about this. During the Cold War, the world faced a similar kind of competition. Two superpowers racing for dominance, building weapons, and trying to outpace each other. But there was one key difference: the weapons were visible, the threat was clear. With AI, the battlefield is invisible, the lines are blurred, and the capabilities are constantly evolving. That makes this race even more unpredictable. But it is not all negative. There is another side to this story. Competition can drive innovation. The race between the United States and China is pushing both nations to achieve breakthroughs that might not have happened otherwise. Advancements in healthcare, improvements in climate modeling, more efficient energy systems. AI has the potential to solve some of the biggest challenges facing humanity. But the question is whether those benefits will outweigh the risks. And that depends on how this race is managed. Right now, there are efforts to establish international guidelines for AI development, discussions about ethical standards, proposals for limiting the use of autonomous weapons. But progress is slow and trust is fragile, because in a competitive environment, no one wants to limit themselves if the other side is not doing the same. That creates a dilemma: cooperate and risk falling behind, or compete and increase the danger. There is no easy answer. And that is why this situation is so complex. Now let me ask you something. If the most powerful nations in the world are racing to build increasingly intelligent systems, and those systems are being integrated into military and strategic operations, who is actually in control? Is it the governments? The engineers? The machines themselves? That question might sound extreme, but it is becoming more relevant every day. Because as AI systems become more advanced, they also become more autonomous, more capable of making decisions, more difficult to fully understand. And that shifts the balance. Control becomes less direct, more distributed, more uncertain. That is the real challenge of the AI arms race. It is not just about who builds the best technology. It is about whether we can maintain control over what we are creating. And right now, the answer is not entirely clear. The race between the United States and China is still unfolding. There is still time to shape how it develops, still time to establish rules, still time to prioritize safety alongside progress. But that window may not stay open forever, because the pace of advancement is accelerating. And once certain thresholds are crossed, it becomes much harder to slow things down. So this is not just a story about technology. And here is one final layer that makes this situation even more intense. The AI race is no longer limited to governments and big tech companies. It is spreading into startups, universities, and even smaller nations trying to stay relevant. That means the number of players is growing. And with more players comes less control. A breakthrough in one corner of the world can instantly shift the balance everywhere else. This creates constant pressure, no pauses, no slowdowns, just continuous acceleration. And in that kind of environment, mistakes become more likely, not always intentional, not always visible, but potentially very costly. Because when intelligence itself becomes the battlefield, even a small advantage can change everything. And that is exactly why this race is starting to feel less like progress and more like a risk no one fully understands. It is a story about choices, decisions being made right now that will define the future. Will this race lead to unprecedented innovation and global benefit? Or will it create new risks that we are not fully prepared to handle? That is the question hanging over everything. And the answer will depend on what happens next. Because in a race like this, the finish line is not just about who gets there first. It is about what kind of world is waiting when they do.